It's been almost a month since Bard was released, and a common thread that you can see on whatever forum or website you want to visit is that the community seems to believe that Bard is not very good. Some going as far as to say that Bard is actually useless. I actually think that that's completely wrong. I've played around 50 games of ranked solo queue with Bard, and I believe he's actually very strong. I want to go through a quick review of the strengths of Bard and give my opinion as to why he's actually a competitive solo queue pick. Before getting started, it's actually really important to talk about Bard's win rate, because I think that's a major deterrent in anyone picking up Bard right now. Bard's win rate is currently sitting at 38% in Diamond in the major regions. Now, at first, this seems like a bad thing, and it is, but look at Gnar. When he was first released, he had an abysmal win rate, and with the first patch that he received changes, they were mostly bug fixes. What we actually noticed was that Gnar's win rate jumped tremendously. Well, some players had learned some tricks and decided to share them with the community. These tricks became widespread, and as a result, Gnar players became much better at playing the champion. Now, I want to see a similar thing happen with Bard, and I don't have all the tricks, but I do have some. I've gone for about a 60% win rate over my last 20 games, and I wanted to share what I know to help Bard get over the initial learning problems that the community might have with him. When I looked at my own play and compared it to other Bard players, I noticed that I did two things distinctly different from the average Bard player. The first is that I took Caretaker Shrine at level 1. Now, what I did with the Shrine is that I used them to back up my weakest laner or my jungler. In the case that I'm going to back up my weakest laner, I'll lay 2 or 3 Caretaker Shrines in their lane, which will give me the ability to influence their lane and potentially turn their lane from a losing lane to a winning lane. Now, I want to give the example of a mid laner against the Pantheon here. In the case of Pantheon, he is heavily mana gated, but he also does an immense amount of damage. So if you can keep your mid laner at a higher health and have them survive through Pantheon's mana, then your mid laner will actually probably win the lane. And if I wanted to use my Caretaker Shrine in the jungle, I would place them between the camps that I thought my jungler would do, and that would reduce the time between camps, which would increase the clear speed. It would also keep them at a more healthy state in the jungle by about 200 HP. So for example, this would be very useful if you had a jungler like Amumu. The other thing that I did differently is that I started Spell Thieves rather than Ancient Coin. Most players start Ancient Coin because they believe that it gives the best stats for Bard, which it does, and it also grants move speed when you upgrade the item. Now, this path seems good, but the biggest reason that this is a bad thing is that it leads to Bard not having much damage. Now, Spell Thief's Edge carries 3 procs. They go off when you auto attack or use a spell on an enemy champion. When you use these at once, you have a large amount of burst that your enemies have to deal with. So in lane, you're looking to use Cosmic Binding, expend all 3 charges, and have your AD carry auto attack and use an ability. Now this much damage will quickly lead your opponent to having to move back, heal up if they can, or even leave lane. If your opponent leaves lane, you will win the lane, and you will go into mid game with a heavy lead. What I've mentioned so far will allow you to get either your AD carry, your mid laner, or your jungler ahead. Now getting a teammate ahead will set you up for successful roams in the early to mid game. One of the things that will separate the good and great Bard players is the ability of a great Bard player to roam to collect meeps as a means to an end. When they roam to collect meeps, they will also ward or gank mid, or even join a teamfight mid to turn a 2v2 into a 3v2. And as you play more, you'll naturally get better at finding the right time to roam. But one thing that will help every Bard player out that I've seen is that they need to make use of Bard's kit when they collect meeps to make the roams as short as possible. When you collect a meep, you get a speed boost. This will stack, so collecting more meeps at once results in shorter roam time. When you use Caretaker Shrine, you get a speed boost. Now this will also shorten roams. Now the third thing is obviously Magical Journey, but Magical Journey has a use that I almost extensively use that I call Magical Journey on Long Walls, or Long Wall Journey. When you use Magical Journey on short walls, you get over certain areas that can save significant time, such as you don't want to walk around the dragon pit, so you take a short wall journey over the back of the dragon pit to your jungle. Long wall journeys, on the other hand, are always useful. Instead of going from one side of a wall to the other, you traverse the entire wall to save time over walking. I'm going to play some of these in the background, but it really helps to learn all of these long wall journeys throughout the game, but especially to shorten your mid-game roams. In the late game, being able to transport your entire team faster than they can otherwise walk is one of the biggest benefits to playing Bard. If a team fight breaks out and you and your AD carry aren't in the fight, Magical Journey can be used to bring you quickly to the fight and prevent a bad team fight from swinging the game. This is one of the biggest advantages to Bard in solo queue. No other support could join that team fight except for Bard. Finally, I want to talk about Bard's ultimate. Never want to use Bard's ult defensively. Now this is what most Bards do. They want to use it to stop a Requiem or a Deathmark or a Hemoplague, but that's simply a poor use of Bard's ultimate. Using Bard's ult to preempt other CCs on your team, such as Orianna's Dissonance, is far more valuable. When used in this way, Tempered Fate is one of the most powerful ultimates in the game. Bard can use it afar to completely change the face of a team fight that he might not have even been present for. And in the mid game, Tempered Fate is one of the best catch tools in the game, but in the late game, you can use it to catch or lock out enemies. It can allow Bard to peel an enemy frontline by himself, or lock out the enemy team's damage dealers entirely for a few seconds. This will give you seconds of focused damage on the enemy frontline. Being able to create many 5v2s, even for a couple seconds, is one of the unique advantages to playing Bard. I hope that I've piqued some of your interest in Bard. I don't think that Bard is being given the proper time of day because there's a negative stigma about him. My goal with this video, and potentially any other videos about Bard, is to help get the learning curve down on this champion for the average Bard player, so that we can see Bard resemble someone like Gnar, rather than ending up like Karma because people don't want to play her. Hopefully this review was beneficial to you, and I actually would really appreciate it if you liked the video. Please like it, think about subscribing, because I'm only going to make more of these, and I really hope that I can make videos that you guys will like. Thanks for watching.